Hi, I haven't been live for a while, so I thought it might be a time. Now, bear with me, we always seem to have some kind of internet issue um, when I try and go live. I don't have the greatest location for internet, so patience is called for. Hence why I don't do it very often, because I don't sometimes have enough patience. So, I wanted to talk to you about protection. If you have been in any kind of circle or done any kind of spiritual development, it is probably a topic that you have addressed before. It may even be a question that you've been wanting to ask is, how do I protect myself? Do I need to protect myself? And so on. So there are lots of ways to protect yourself. But my question when someone asks this, first of all, is I have one that I ask back to you. What are you protecting yourself from? Because we don't want to protect ourselves from family and spirit, because they come to us with love. So we never want to deny that connection. So the main thing that we actually have to protect ourselves from is the living. So those people in your life that sometimes don't want the best for you. Now, there are times when we need to protect ourselves from disembodied energy. So we may use the words demon, ghost, poltergeist, all those kinds of interesting things, but it is not one that we're going to really be addressing or spending a lot of time on today, because we're going to deal with that another time. So in regards to protection, there are lots of tools that are on the market that you can use. Now, I have a lot of them myself, and that's because I'm a parapsychologist and I need them for that work sometimes. I don't necessarily use them a lot in my day-to-day life because I actually don't want to be protected from spirit. And I have some tips that I'm going to share with you on how to protect yourself from the energy of the living. So some of the tools that we may call on for protection are common tools. So there may be crystals, so like a smoky quartz. Tourmaline is also a crystal that people use. Obsidian. So they're the crystals that people use. They're very useful. We know how I feel about crystals. They're not something that I use a lot. I do use them. I find that they're very useful for putting around your property for protection, or even in rooms for protection. They're great for absorbing energy, and that aligns with the crystal frequency. But they do get full and they do need maintenance. So, and sometimes I can be a smidge lazy, so I like to rely on other methods of protection. Now, there are also things like white sage oil that you can use. There are herbs, and I'll show you some. So there's different types of herbs you can burn. And the one that people may hear of and think that as a go-to is white sage. So that's a burning ritual where, and we can discuss that more in detail, the actual process on how to use white sage very effectively for clearing spaces. It's a short-term fix. It works with the energy that is currently present or that is in a location. It doesn't help necessarily for things that are coming at you, so that are already being sent towards you. So it's really for a clearing tool, but some people still do use it as part of their protection process. Also, the other thing that, depending on your faith, some people like to use things like holy water, as well, and they anoint themselves and have it in locations to use that for protection as well. But once again, it comes down to your belief system. The one I really want to talk about today is using energy in its purest form for protection. Because really, sometimes you can't get to the shops. Sometimes you don't have the skills or the knowledge to use certain tools, or you're just not drawn to use particular tools. And when dealing with energy, you don't actually need to have any tools at all to protect yourself. So what I would say to you is, first of all, consider the energy that you are projecting, because energy is like a magnet. So depending on what you're giving out is what you're going to receive. So consider if you're in fear, if you're angry, upset, any of those type of emotions, because what you are projecting is what you will attract. As I said, it's a bit like a magnet. So never really try and do any kind of work that is sort of the psychic or connection with spirit if you're in fear. And that's just a caution, because you don't want to be in a lower frequency when trying to connect. And there's lots of reasons for that, but also on that one of energy attracting like energy. So don't be in a place of fear, which is a low frequency, when trying to do any kind of spiritual work. It's we just don't want to attract things that are a similar frequency. And hello, Jess. Hi everyone for being there. So what I would say is consider your energy and what you're working with to start with. Now, sometimes we've got all that sorted and we're great, our energy is wonderful, but there's still knuckleheads around us. We may work with a bunch of them. They may actually even be in our family, and we can't do much to get away from them. So we have done a stock take on our own energy, and we know that we're great. We've got no issues. But we're still getting energy sent towards us that is not great. So what do? I mean, yes, you can go to some tools. As I said, they're short-term fixes, but one way that you can quickly protect yourself, and let me tell you, I have done this in locations like just simply going into a public toilet, because I'm at a location, I'm at an event and a party, and it's not great, and I can feel the energy coming towards me, and I want to protect myself. So it's something that quickly when you can be in that type of space. So we will normally do, if you know sort of spiritual work, you would ground yourself and connect to divine and all that type of thing. But if you don't have that knowledge, you can still do this without that. So if you do have that knowledge, by all means, make sure you ground yourself before doing any kind of work, and set the intention for what you're going to do, that you're going to be only working with the higher frequencies. Now, if you don't have that knowledge, that's fine. All you need to do is call in with such intention, as if you're calling in a heap of people to stand around you, and they are energetic beings. What I want you to do is, in this situation, is call in your team. You don't need to know their names, because they know who they're working with. So they know you, even if you don't know them. So you call in your spiritual team to come in now. And that's the kind of energy you want to say. It's like, you guys, be here now. Stand around me now. So we want them to stand around you. And if you can visualize it, great. If you can't, just ask for it to be done. To stand around you with their backs to you and their fronts facing out. So that's important, because they need to see in their own way what's coming towards you. So they stand around you front and back like a circle, and where you want to place them is as far at the edge of your aura. So if you don't know where that is, on average or as a guideline, put out your arm. And so how far that stretches out is roughly where it should be. Now, sometimes an aura can be less than that. It can be closer to your body, depending on how you're feeling. And sometimes it can be out beyond that, which is called an overextended aura. We know those people. They're full of themselves. No. So we want it, our ideal aura is about where our arm is. So just visualize that, or if you can't, just ask for them to be in that location. And we ask for them to stand around us and protect us from any energy that is not in our highest good, anything that is coming our way that we don't want to go on our aura, go into our body, because energy can permeate and go into our body and go into our soul. So we really say it with great intention. It's like, and the example would be, spiritual team, come here now. You stand around me and you protect me, face out, and block anything that is coming my way. Send it now. This is the thing. We ideally send it up to the universe, source, God, whatever resonates with you. And we ask that it be transmuted into love and taken anywhere it's required within the universe or the world, because we know sometimes it needs to come back and go somewhere in the world for its highest good. So we actually want to take that negative energy and convert it into love and send it somewhere else. So, but sometimes there is an exception to that rule. Even though we're trying to work for the highest good of everyone involved, sometimes whilst we are, doing our best, we're trying to stay positive and light and be kind and all those wonderful energies and emotions and frequencies that we know we should be working in. Everyone around us may not be playing by the same rules. It's just the way it is sometimes. So we may give these people a few chances. They may have been sending us, bad energy, saying rubbish about us. Maybe they've lied, maybe they've said mean things, maybe they've done mean things, and we've done everything we could do to stop it, and they just keep doing it. In that case, you can actually send the energy back to them. Now, as I said, ideally, it's not what we want to do. We actually want to send it, transmute it, convert it to love, and send it out to the universe. But sometimes it needs to go back to whoever is sending it to us because they have lessons to learn. They need to feel what it feels like for whatever reason. So I wouldn't do it as your first point of reference. But if the situation keeps occurring and the behavior keeps occurring, it is something that you can do. Now, you may have seen this or heard of this as a mirror protection. It works a similar way where people say they put mirrors around them and it just deflects it and sends it back. The problem is if the other side knows how to do that as well, all we do is get a ricochet response. And more people do know that type of thing. So that's why we don't always send it back, because we don't want it just to be going backwards and forwards, like a game of tennis, a really bad game of tennis. So, as I said, I'll go through it again. So we will connect if we know how to do that. If we don't know how to do it, it's perfectly fine. We ask for our spiritual team to come here now to stand around us and protect us. They are to face outwards so they can see what's coming there, to intercept any energy in any form. So words, thoughts, emotions, anything like that. To intercept it so it does not go into our aura, it does not go into our body, and it does not go into our soul. It does not infect us, impact us, or influence us in any way at all. We ask that they take that energy and they take it and convert it into love and send it out to the universe or anywhere into the world that is required. And as I said, there is that exception if you don't want to do the last bit. But I advise you, caution. So you can use that method for a lot of things. I have used it for humans, family, parties, events, a situation where I know that I'm going to be impacted by someone or a group of people that is going to take me to a place that maybe I don't like or make me feel the way I don't like to feel. And it is very effective. It is also very effective as well for if you are encountering energy that is not alive. So disembodied ghost spirits and other things. And I have used it for those other things as well. And it is very effective with that as well. The other thing I just want to touch on very briefly before I go is we may have heard of protection that is bringing down bubbles. Now they are great, they really are, but they are light, they are thin, and they last about 6, maybe 12 hours at best, so we have to top them up. When we do this protection, when we ask our team to stand around us, we also can set the intention that it lasts as long as required or as long as the event lasts. So depending on what's going on, it may be just a party and you only need it for a few hours, but it may be something that goes on for weeks and weeks and you may need them in place for weeks and weeks, and they will do that. Whereas the bubble, as I said, you would need to remember to keep topping it up, to keep redoing it. Now the bubble energy process, where we bring down a bubble over it, once again has to cover our aura, our whole aura, 30 centimeters above our head, 30 centimeters below our feet, that stretched out arm length as a guide. So it needs to cover all of that. It can be layered as well. So we can use, and we always hear the divine white light, but you can also add colors to it. So yellow if you're learning, pink if you need love, purple if you're in a group when you think that this similar sort of psychic attack energy is around. And up to 3 layers is, you can use that. But as I said, it doesn't last that long because it's quite thin. The other thing that you can use which I've just recently been shown by a wonderful international teacher, is similar to the bubble but a bit thicker. So it would be a cube, and you would be seeing it as glass. And it would be about 3 to 4 centimeters thick all the way around you. Similar type of thing, locks in your aura, covers all that. Above your head 30 centimeters, below your feet 30 centimeters. That arm stretched out sort of thing as how far wide we go all the way around us, front and back. It can also be filled with energy like a bubble. So you would do the glass cube around you, and then you would fill it with divine white light if you feel guided. Now that is designed, and the intention of that is to protect you from the living, and by all accounts it's very effective. I don't know, and I haven't tested it, to use it for the non-living situations, so I can't comment on that. So that's another option to use as well. But these, calling in these energies, if we do them with such intention and truly believe, and if we can see, great. If we can't see, we just ask for it to be done and trust that it is. They are a wonderful technique. One, when you don't have much time, or you don't have tools to use, or you don't have the knowledge or inclination to use tools, but you just need something now, and it works. So I just wanted to share that with you, and if you feel guided to use it, by all means, go for it.